Hello and welcome to the Holiday and Cruise Clinic. I'm Jemma Gofton with another edition of the programme that aims to make your next cruise or holiday as problem-free and relaxing as possible. So, if you have a holiday, cruise or travel-related question, here's how to get in touch. To leave a question on our viewer hotline, call 0871 423 4444. Calls cost 10p a minute from a BT landline and calls from other networks and mobiles may vary. Write on our Facebook wall or tweet us, just search Holiday and Cruise Channel. Send a message through our website www.holidayandcruisechannel.co.uk/clinic or write to us at the Holiday and Cruise Channel, Cavendish House, Brighton Road, Liverpool, L22 5NG. Now in today's programme we're exploring things to do in the United States of America. Dallas inspires big ideas. This big and bold approach has resulted in world-class arts, culture, architecture, business and much more, which are changing the face of the city as the fourth largest metro area in the United States with more than $15 billion in urban development underway, the nation's largest urban arts district, a battalion of celebrity chefs and Southwest's best shopping and a national sports spotlight year-round. And here to tell us more about this exciting destination is Neil Jones from the Dallas Convention and Visitors Bureau. That sounds like an awful lot of things to do in Dallas. So how would you describe it as a city?
I think the best way to describe a city, and it may sound a little cliche, but it's a city that really has reinvented itself in recent years. So much so, and you mentioned the $15 billion in development, so much so in fact that if you've previously visited the city anything more than 5 or 6 years ago, you would be returning now to a very different city. It's developed and changed beyond recognition.
And why? What was the reasoning behind changing it all and wanting to move it on?
Pivotal to the development was to embrace, obviously, tourism, but it was to make the city a more accessible and easier to get around city. Previously, that may not have been the case so easily around Dallas. So now they've spent all this money developing the city, and you know, it really does offer a genuinely good city break destination as an alternative to the usual ones that we all know and love anyway.
And if we're going to be putting it on the map, where is it? My geography's terrible.
So you'll find Dallas, it's very much central if you're looking east to west on the United States,
yeah.
On the southern end of the United States. As a point of reference, it's probably quite good to know it borders with Mexico, so that kind of gives you a point of reference. So it's very much central in the southern part of the United States, yeah, on the border of Mexico.
Okay, if you could see my face now, I'm like the clocks are ticking. I'm just trying to, the cogs are going round. So what will people? Well, I know of Dallas, obviously, the 80s television programme that's now being rerun. So that's all I know about oil and big buildings, big glass buildings. So what will surprise people who've probably got the same ideas about it as me?
And you know what, we love JR and family, you know, it's part of our heritage. But you've already mentioned actually probably what will be the most surprising thing to most people is that we actually have the largest urban arts district in the United States of America. That's one that surprised me when I heard it. You always imagine the likes of New York and Los Angeles. But what happened, part of this development, they got 6 world-renowned architects to develop this amazing arts campus. And it's all very easy to walk around the arts campus. We have museums that are architecturally stunning, but also incredibly interesting. We have world-class opera house, a world-class theatre, and this all falls within the urban arts district. And I think that is something that surprises a lot of people, that we embrace the arts that majorly. And
were they part of the regeneration scheme, or you know, does the theatre have a history?
They have been part of the regeneration. So, as an example, the Winspear, the Opera House, Winspear Opera House, was part of the regeneration. It's a fantastic, very modern-looking building. These are Pritzker Award-winning architectural designs. The Perot Museum of Nature and Science. What we're very lucky with in Dallas is to have the most billionaires of any city in the United States, and these are our benefactors for these museums and music venues. So it's great to have that competition between them because they always want to have the best building.
And I guess those billionaires are down to the big oil industry there.
It's certainly part of the history of the city, and that's where a lot of the development has come from.
Fabulous. Now, you mentioned about the regeneration and trying to make Dallas easier to get around. And so is it easier?
It is. We have a great public transport system. I mean, from the moment you arrive into Dallas-Fort Worth Airport, you can get on a transport system that will take you straight into downtown Dallas. Once you're into downtown Dallas, we have the D-Link system, some great cable cars, and this whole public transport system is incredibly cheap, if not free, and it connects up the airport to the downtown district, but also once you're there, it connects all of the major tourist sort of hotspots and destinations that you're going to be wanting to visit.
So you don't need a car, is that what you say?
If you're staying in the city, purely in the city, then absolutely not, no. It's the transport system is your way to go. It's probably a little bit big to be able to walk everywhere, but once you're in the downtown area to go around some of the major areas, you can walk, but the public transport is that's your way to get around.
And just harping back to my only sort of point of reference, Dallas, is it a busy place? Is it hustly? Is it bustly?
It's got the hustle and bustle that you would imagine any metropolitan city to have. Think New York, think London, and it really does have that hustle and bustle. And again, that was part of the development idea, was that they wanted it to be a city that was alive 7 days a week, not just whilst the businesses were in town. So that's all part of the development that's come along. And as a result of that, what they've created, again, is this neighbourhood idea whereby, of course, you have the downtown area where you find a lot of business and a lot of the hotels and the museums. But you then extend out and you've got some fantastic neighbourhoods that are really easily accessible, and they bring a very different vibe and a very different aspect to the downtown area.
I don't necessarily think that when I say Dallas that I think of a holiday hotspot or a tourism place. So what's the draw? Tell me why people should go, what they're going to see, what they're going to enjoy about it.
Well, of course, we have the arts and the culture. I think, in my opinion, no US holidays, it's not a true US experience unless you embrace some of the sporting aspects whilst you're there. Dallas is the home of what the team that is referred to as America's team, which is the Dallas Cowboys, recently played at Wembley, so you can embrace, really sort of take on that American vibe. We've got a fantastic sports venue in the American Airlines Centre where the Dallas Mavericks basketball team will play. They also have an ice hockey team, and they also now have what we would call football, but they call soccer in the city. There's a great food scene. Obviously we're all familiar with sort of Tex-Mex type food, but it's so much more than that, right up to the fine dining, fantastic chefs, all about sort of the locally sourced ingredients. So culture, history, food and great sporting events certainly make for a great holiday destination.
We are going to go to a break, but I just want to ask you before we do, you fly into which airport is it?
You can fly directly into Dallas-Fort Worth from London.
From London. And then how far is it from the airport to the centre of Dallas, if you want to stay in the centre?
Depending on traffic, which is always a consideration with any city, we're about 25 miles from Dallas-Fort Worth Airport to downtown Dallas. On a good day, that can be half an hour. But if you allow 45 minutes for traffic, that will get you to downtown. And
can we jump on shuttle buses? Can we do public transport?
You have all the options. You've got the direct connect that I mentioned earlier, which takes you from the airport into downtown. There's taxis, there's shuttle buses. So it really does depend upon how desperate you are to get in the city and start exploring.
Very desperate. There's lots of nice food. Bear with us. We're just going to have a quick break. OK, now, if you're new to cruising, then this is our first time guide to cruise holidays. And it's well worth asking for because it's absolutely free of charge. Just give us a call, 0871 423 4444. Calls will cost 10p a minute from a BT landline, and other networks and mobiles may just vary. You can also ask for a copy through our website, www.holidayandcruisechannel.co.uk. And whilst you're asking for this, we'll take a quick break. See you shortly. Welcome back to the Holiday and Cruise Clinic. It's lovely to have you with us. In today's programme, we're exploring things to do in Dallas, and Neil Jones is still with me. Now, I'm going to talk about prices and cost of things now, because that's obviously very important when you're planning a holiday. So let's talk about accommodation in Dallas. Is there 5-star down to B&B? Is there something for everybody?
There really is. We have the accommodations which would be for the budget conscious, shall we say, right up until some very cool, funky boutique type hotels. We've got Hotel W, which people will be familiar with. A hotel called the Jewel, which has live art exhibitions throughout the hotel, right up to the very top 5-star Ritz-Carlton. There's the Hotel Zaza, and then there's the Mansion on Turtle Bay, which is a stalwart of the Dallas hotel scene. So it's we really can cater from the budget conscious all the way up to the opulent 5-star luxury that may be required.
And about dining then as well, because we mentioned about Tex-Mex, so it sort of says to me big steaks, burgers, maybe the odd barbecue here and there. It can't just be about that. Absolutely not.
I mean, you mentioned there barbecue. That again, that's pivotal to sort of Texan cuisine, and Dallas is no different there. But we can cater right from your very very simple sort of 2-course dinner, probably start you around about $20, all the way up to the absolute most fine dining restaurants, silver service type restaurants where budget becomes less of a consideration, and that then maybe varies away from the typical Texan cuisine and embraces food from all over the world.
And drinks, is there a typical cocktail or beer that's just synonymous to Dallas and that's what we should try?
Again, I think it's part of this whole metropolitan vibe, is that there really isn't a cocktail or a drink that would be synonymous with Dallas, but again, a very lively bar scene and nightlife scene. You can have your happy hour drinks where you can expect to pay from a couple of dollars for a beer, right up to sort of $10 for a cocktail and upwards. There is a very big craft beer scene in Dallas, and which is extending across the United States right now. So craft beers and sort of small microbreweries would probably be one of the really sort of hot things that you have to sample at the moment throughout Dallas.
And what's the restaurant incubator?
The restaurant incubator you'll actually find in an area called Trinity Grove. And the concept behind it is to give local restaurateurs and new startups the opportunity to have a home where they can try and develop their menus, develop their feel and the vibe in an environment that's been supported by the Dallas City developers, but also the restaurant scene where they all really support each other to find what can be successful. Most notable within there is a restaurant called LTO, which literally stands for limited time only. It's a great concept, and what it is, it's a 4-month rolling pop-up restaurant whereby every 4 months the restaurant chef will change, the menu will change, and it really it gives new chefs and new qualified chefs the opportunity to try out their menus and develop and find their niche in the market, I guess.
And is that an affordable place to eat then? Because you're almost a guinea pig, really, aren't you?
Absolutely. I mean, it really is affordable. It's great local food. The ingredients are generally sourced locally, so within 80 miles is quite typical. But it's very affordable. And you can have anything from a great Texan burger all the way up to some nice sort of Italian pastas and some really good food there. And again, the microbreweries come back, and you'll get a lot of beers that are produced within sort of this 80-mile radius.
That's very interesting. Now, what we've just seen in LVT is we've seen lots of tall buildings and the hustle and bustle, but then we also saw some cowboys in cowboy hats and ranches. So let's chat about sort of the more sedate side of it, if you like. How accessible is that, and what can we do out there?
I mean, absolutely. We are a metropolitan city, and we've got that built-up area, but we have some fantastic green spaces as well within the city, and within easy driving distance as well. So You'll find the stockyards just outside the city. You've got, we mentioned earlier, South Fork Ranch, which is part of the Dallas 80s show.
Can you go round?
You can go and visit South Fork Ranch.
So excited.
So that's, you know, a little step back in history of
well, it's not that far, thank you.
I did say a little step. And then, of course, you have Fort Worth, where you'll find the stockyards, and you can get that all-American experience where you can ride a horse and you're in the great outdoors, and it really is accessible from Dallas. You go from this, you know, bustling metropolitan city to sort of the wide open greenery of Texas and ride a horse.
Let's chat about shopping, if you don't mind now. My third favourite subject after food and drink. How fabulous are the shops?
We are the home of Neiman Marcus, so a name that everyone's going to know.
Wow.
So we are the home of Neiman Marcus, so that kind of gives you a good foundation for what the shopping's like in Dallas. We also offer tax-free shopping, which is a great plus point as well, which means whatever you spend, you're going to get somewhere around 6% back of it when you get to the airport and you hand your receipts in. But then equally, what you do have, you have various high-end boutique shops throughout the city. It's not just huge brand names. And then beyond that, we then have the ever the favourite of British tourists travelling to the United States, which is the outlet malls, which you'll find between 15 and 45 minutes outside of the city. We have 3 or 4 malls that are there available, again offering the outlet shopping, you know, big brand names, and then also the bonus of tax-free again.
As well as the discounts.
As well as the discounts anyway.
Loving that. That is very exciting to me. Now, we know that the airport is about 20-something miles away. Is that what you said?
About 25 miles, yeah.
What about the cruise port, if you're maybe tagging Dallas onto a holiday or starting it there?
So our nearest cruise port would be Galveston, which is going to be somewhere around probably 260, 270 miles. That may sound like some distance for us in the UK, but when you're in Texas, these are very easy to navigate roads. It's really not that difficult to get to Galveston, and from there, that's then going to open up cruising down to the Caribbean and sort of Central America, and we also have Disney cruises cruise out of there as well to give that family cruise feel as well.
So if you have got the kids in Dallas before you go on your Disney cruise, is there a zoo, you know, that type of thing, keep them entertained? Absolutely,
we have a zoo. The museum and the arts campus is very much geared towards families and children as well. I think there's one that stands out for me, which would be the Perot Museum of Nature and Science. On a recent visit there, I was there with my boss at work. Where else would I be able to see my boss have a foot race against a T-Rex?
Of course you
exactly.
should do that.
So it's a very interactive, very fun museum. It's very hands-on for the children, for the kids, so they can learn, but it's also fun at the same time.
Okay, and obviously you've been to Dallas many times. What's your favourite thing to do in the city?
I am a sports fanatic, so having been to see the Dallas Mavericks play a local game versus San Antonio Spurs, that was a huge plus. But I like some of the more traditional experiences as well. Of course, we can't forget we have the Sixth Floor Museum in Dallas, which marks the day that JFK was assassinated in the city. And it marks and tracks the progress and how that day proceeded and how the series of events led to that fateful day, which is a very, very interesting, very sort of moving exhibition of, you know, how that unfolded. So that's something that, again, you have to experience whilst you're there. And I think, again, my favourite, I think the Perot Museum it's certainly one that sticks out.
And what about time of year? What would be your favourite time of year to visit Dallas?
I think what we know about Texas, the weather conditions are certainly slightly warmer than we have here in the UK. So spring and autumn are great times to be there, temperature-wise. But of course, if you want to get a little bit of relaxation by the pool in as well whilst you're there, the summer's great months, and, you know, lounging by the pool and enjoying a cocktail or a drink, soaking up the sun rays, as well as doing the sights and the sounds. Summer's a great option also.
Oh, so I mean, it is pretty much all round, you'd say. You could
really
find something to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Like with any city break, even into the winter, you're going to find shopping and some great restaurants, and, you know, that doesn't go away for the winter either.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your time. Very interesting. Now, just a quick reminder about this. It's our first time guide to cruise holidays and it's absolutely free of charge. Just give us a call, 0871 423 4444. Calls will cost 10p a minute from a BT landline and other networks and mobiles may vary. And don't forget you can ask for a copy through our website, www.holidayandcruisechannel.co.uk, where you can also get in touch with your questions for future programmes. Okay, that's all we've got time for on today's edition of the Holiday and Cruise Clinic. My huge thanks to Neil Jones from the Dallas Convention and Visitors Bureau. And thanks to you for watching. See you next time. Bye.